Hi and welcome everyone to episode 25 of The Little Inside. My name is surprisingly still Tobi, and this week we are going to have a look at difficult emotions. Let's get started right after the intro. Our daily emotional tone moves up and down on a scale between comfortable, uncomfortable, and neutral. Most of the time, it's rather insignificant movements, but sometimes you have to face very difficult emotions like peak points in this frequency. So for example, sometimes you might be overcome by incredible anger or very strong grief, all depending on the circumstances, of course, all depending on where you are currently at in your life. So in this episode, we're going to have a look at the difficult emotions that are sometimes arising within ourselves. And I will discuss a few possibilities of how it might be possible to deal with them. So first of all, we are having a look at the concept or the practice of surrender and acceptance. Both of these qualities are very important. Now, when it comes to difficult emotions or to light emotions, it is still the same thing, really. We are allowing ourselves to feel, to be a human being with human emotions. That's always the first kind of step. The ability to accept that there is such an emotion. This acceptance can be on a very low level, just simply acknowledging, there is this kind of emotion right now. Or it can go to a very powerful kind of acceptance that fully allows for an emotion to be there within you. So there is no form of resistance, no form of holding on to the emotion whatsoever. This allows for the emotion then to melt. However, most of us are in the beginning stages particularly unable to allow our emotions to be fully there. So what we do instead is we are kind of fighting what we feel. So when anger comes up, there is an internal resistance against that anger, and that resistance at the same time is nourishing the anger. The practice of acceptance allows you to kind of work on that resistance that we have towards our emotions. Whether it's anger or grief or whatever kind of emotions, you will notice that while the grief comes up, while the anger comes up, at the same time there is a sense of self that is fighting it, that is resisting it, that is energetically contracting around the feeling that you have. And not only energetically actually, but you can notice how we contract around our emotions very often, even physically. The muscles contract, and if that is an habitual case, for example, if we habitually, fearfully contract our muscles, if we're in a very fearful environment, for example, then our muscles will continuously harden to the point where our shoulders are continuously lifted up, or our belly is very tight all the time. For habitual worriers, for example, the belly usually is very tight. There's lots of problems with digestion and so forth. So there is actually physiological results of an emotion that you're habitually holding. And particularly if these emotions are very strong, they have a very direct impact on your body as well. So letting go of these emotions is very important. Acceptance doesn't just mean that you're intellectually accepting that there is an emotion like, oh, there is some anger and now I'm supposed to accept it. And you do that with your head somehow. But acceptance means that you are loosening the way you energetically contract around your feeling. And we do that by filling the entire body with consciousness or awareness, not just the single part of the body where the emotion currently resides. For example, you might feel very strong anger. I take that because it's a very popular emotion and many people feel, or stress. You might feel it in your chest, in your heart area, or in your belly. So that's the area where the emotion is. You're not feeling angry in your elbows. You're not feeling angry in your hair. You're not feeling angry in your nose. You feel it mostly in your chest. You feel it in your belly, for example. Now, when you feel it there, then we're widening our space of awareness into the whole body. So we're filling our whole body with consciousness, with awareness, rather than just that single little spot. We have this tendency mentally to zoom into the problem. So once the problem has arisen, we usually kind of hover around it or dwell emotionally in this problem continuously, which of course nourishes the problem, gives energy to the problem and power. It makes it grow, it makes it appear bigger than it is. So here, that's what we do. Acceptance here in that very practical stage means widening our awareness and filling our entire body with awareness rather than just that single spot. Now, what's also important is, of course, the quality of your awareness. How are you looking at your emotion? How are you receiving it? Is it with kind of a disgust, like I shouldn't be feeling this, but I still do, and so now I'm supposed to accept it, so I'm widening my awareness? Or is the widening process of your awareness carried by a kind sensation? So you're basically understanding that you are suffering at this moment in which the emotion is very strong, and that your thought processes keep this emotion alive. When you understand that, when you understand that you're making yourself suffer right now, that this is unnecessary, you can develop compassion towards yourself. The feeling of, may I be free from this unnecessary suffering, or may I find a way out of making myself suffer that way. So the whole process is guided and carried by kindness or compassion, the wish for yourself to be happy, to be well, to be free from suffering, and the ability to see yourself with kind, friendly, warm eyes, to allow your emotions to be there. Like you would take care of a sick animal, for example. If you find a sick animal and you are nourishing it, you're nurturing it, you take care, you bring it back to life, you bring it back to health, that is an act of kindness towards that animal. Now, an emotion is also a bit like a wounded animal that needs your help, that needs your attention, it needs your love, your kindness, your care. And so we're taking good care of ourselves by letting go of these heavy emotions. So that's the role that kindness plays in this whole process of acceptance. So accepting the emotion by bringing our awareness into the whole body, doing so with, if you can, a kind emotion towards yourself, a kind, warm feeling of taking care of yourself, bringing yourself out of suffering. And then, of course, timing is also very important. When is your mindfulness kicking in? When are you aware? So for most people, the mindfulness comes after the act. Let's say you have just yelled at someone and that person was very hurt and turned away and ran off. And there you stand and you contemplate for a little while and suddenly you recognize, oh my God, I shouldn't have said that. That was over the top, it was too much. And there is a feeling of regret. So for most people it's kind of like that. We do something and later on we reflect upon it, we say, I could have done that differently. I could have solved the problem with more kindness or in a wiser way. So that means there is mindfulness. It's still a little bit too late, but at least it's there, so it's already good. And this is how most people kind of start. Oh, I said an entire 30 minutes in my meditation and I didn't notice that I was meditating for 15 minutes of the time. I was totally distracted. But you notice it. You start really seeing how the mind operates. You start really seeing how you and your life work out of your mind. That's great. So if you're improving your practice of awareness and mindfulness, you're becoming faster. Your mindfulness becomes faster, more on the spot. You will eventually be able to see clearly when an emotion is there, you see it right there in the middle of the emotion. Let's say you are right there fighting, yelling at your friend. And as you yell, you suddenly become mindful. You hear yourself yell. You see yourself yell with your inner eyes. Now that is already a faster type of mindfulness, and so here gives you the opportunity to pull the brake, to kind of stop yelling, and to maybe ask your friend for some quiet time of reflection and to continue the discussion at another time. It gives you a choice. But the best and most fast kind of awareness kicks in before anger even arises, or at the first kind of signs that you feel anger is arising inside of you. And with that, you're not allowing another being to be as they are. We're not allowing the moment to be as it is. And that gives you the opportunity to let go of the whole painful process of anger even before it kicks off. So these are the three kind of things that, that really work for me, that I recommend. It's acceptance and surrender, bringing your awareness into your whole body. Then kindness, taking care of yourself, doing that under the aspect of taking care of yourself, of helping yourself not to suffer. That's compassion. And the aspect of timing, sharpening through continuous practice your ability to be aware at the right time, just even before these heavy emotions can even begin. And that takes practice. It takes a lot of time. To say it in short, fill the body with awareness and drop thinking. Thinking is the fuel of heavy and light emotions. An emotion is merely a reflection of your thoughts felt in your body. So this is all that came to mind for this topic this week. I hope it was useful as usual. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to write me an email or write it down in the comment section below. And I'm really looking forward to seeing you all again next week for the next little insight. And until then, I wish you a fantastic week full of beautiful mindfulness and present moment awareness. Bye-bye.